Welcome back, you guys. Day 10 of the Menopause Energized 30-Day Healthy Heart Marathon. Let's get started. Welcome back, you guys. Let me tell you, people who sleep less than 6 hours a night are 20% more likely to develop heart disease. So let's talk about why. But here's the part most people miss. There are a few sleep habits that is silently damaging your heart every night, bad habits. And chances are you're doing it. So let's just stick around and I will tell you more. So welcome back again to day 10 of the Healthy Heart Marathon. You know, guys, sleep is essential for cardiovascular repair and regulation. During sleep, your body lowers blood pressure, it lowers the heart rate, allowing the heart to rest and recover. So poor sleep disrupts hormonal balance, increasing stress, hormones like cortisol, which can elevate the blood pressure and inflammation. Less than 7 hours of sleep per night has been linked to higher risk of heart attacks, strokes, and high blood pressure. The American Heart Association has also studied this as an importance of getting a restful night of sleep. There's something called your circadian rhythm. It's our body's internal clock that regulates sleep, wakefulness, and many other biological processes. It influenced primarily by light and darkness and plays a critical role in your overall health, including your heart. This master clock is located in the brain hypothalamus, and our bodies produce what we call melatonin, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And it produces the melatonin at night in response to darkness. So, sleep and heart disease, I'm going to give you some of the factors that can affect our rhythm at night. And one of them is snoring. No, not everybody that snores is going to wind up with sleep apnea. But snoring is one of the risk factors because what happens during snoring, you snore, you're breathing heavy, and then all of a sudden your chest is at rest. You're actually not breathing for a while, some longer than others. Sometimes it can be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, but you actually have what we call apnea, where you stop breathing for a little bit. Well, think about it. When you stop breathing, the oxygen blood through your system also stops. And so in terms with that, it decreased oxygen level increases your blood pressure. So if you're snoring really bad, it's always good to let your doctor know to see if they need to do any type of test. Again, not everybody that snores has sleep apnea. Shift work. They've talked about this for years. All this is research-based, evidence-based research. None of this is made up. But they talked about for years how night shift. I used to do 15 years, I believe, of night shift. Until it did, I felt like took a toll on my body, and I decided to go completely days. But night shift work also can interfere with your sleep cycle. It's just not the same as sleeping during the day. Because remember, when you work during the night with bright lights, and we'll talk about that, that interferes with the melatonin production. They say sleeping on your left side. Everybody can't sleep on their left side. If they can, you don't stay there all night, of course. You always want to reposition yourself at night. But research has shown, studies have shown that sleeping at night can help with the circulation of the heart. And that is your left side. We're going to talk about the light exposure too. That's dangerous. And it's about the melatonin. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But going to sleep with all these bright lights around you can also interfere with your system. So you're to get 7+ hours of sleep at night. This is what research says that we can function off of. 7+ hours. Any less than that can interrupt your sleep cycle. And we already talked about it. Try not to sleep with the lights on. Same bedtime schedule if possible. That also has can interfere with sleep cycle. If you're going to bed at 8, then you're going to bed at 12, or then you're going to bed at 2 in the morning. That interrupts the sleep cycle and it interrupts the melatonin production. And we'll get into the melatonin in just a second. And then we already talked about the snoring. It becomes bothersome assistance from your doctor. So what is melatonin exactly? Melatonin is something that is produced in our body, but it's produced certain parts of the day. When our body is in a dark environment at night, it goes with the circadian rhythm, it starts producing melatonin. So when you are exposed to light, when you're trying to sleep, it suppresses the melatonin level in your body. The melatonin is what actually relaxes your body and help you sleep. So the more you're exposed to light exposure night, if you're one of those ones that sleep with the lights on all night, maybe there are some people that sleep okay, but it can suppress the melatonin level in your body, making it harder for you to fall off to sleep. Also, light exposure at night just before you go to bed with your phones, with your TV, with your computers. That all affects and suppresses the melatonin level. Because remember again, melatonin responds and starts producing when your body is in a dark environment. It's just the way the system works in your body. Again, it all takes place in the hypothalamus of the brain. So that with that being said, insomnia. When you have chronic insomnia and you can't get sleep, after a while, it will interfere with the melatonin level. It will suppress the melatonin level in your body. And remember again, I said we call it the circadian rhythm is what it's called. And so insomnia chronic can decrease the melatonin levels. Believe it or not, caffeine or alcohol in the late hours of the day suppresses the melatonin level. Yes, it does. So that is another thing. To try to keep your caffeine. Well, most people drink alcohol if they're going out, of course, in the evening. But just letting you know that the caffeine and the alcohol late at night decreases the melatonin level. So sometimes people may think, that it's the caffeine, of course, that keeps you awake, but there's a couple other factors in there as well that keeps you awake. Of course, stress for everything. Stress counteracts the effects of melatonin. Stress can suppress the production of melatonin. And then a warm bedroom at night. Believe it or not, a warm bedroom at night can suppress the production of melatonin as well. Not sure what the research on that, but study has shown a very warm bedroom. And now, where does all this melatonin come from? It's synthesized from foods, actually. And I got form here, but it's synthesized from foods high in a particular level, like turkey and nuts have this particular level product in the foods where the melatonin is synthesized from. So the melatonin is synthesized from those products made in the foods. And you can find those, I'm just listing a couple here. You can find that in turkey and you can find it in certain nuts. So that's where it's synthesized from. It's synthesized from certain foods that we eat. There's a level in those foods that help to synthesize and produce melatonin in your system. So if you don't get enough of that, those particular food items in, you will have a decreased production or synthesis of melatonin. Now, there's a lot of controversy over the counter melatonin. I don't prescribe any medications. This is completely a health educational course. But yeah, they do sell melatonin over the counter. And what I want to say about it is that you have to be careful with that. They say long-term use can cause some long-term heart issues with the over-the-counter one because it's not naturally occurring in your system. You're supplementing. You always have to be careful, to me, with any supplements you take in. But yeah, they said to be careful using melatonin as a long-term use. And so those are the things I wanted to tell you about sleep and heart health, because some people feel like sleep has nothing to do with heart health, and sleep has everything to do with heart health. So I just wanted to give you that bit of information today. Again, won't keep you too long. We'll continue this tomorrow for our next session. And like I said, this is day 10. Tomorrow we'll be on day 11. So again, yes, all of these things helps interfere with your sleep pattern. So you definitely want to try to cut down on your light exposure. just before bed. I know sometimes people are really busy. They have work to do, maybe projects to get done. And also the caffeine and alcohol. Remember that. Of course, we all know about the stress. And that is pretty much it for today. So till next time, take care. And again, as I always say, take care of your heart. I do want to say one thing, though. I don't have it on here. Also, with the hot flashes, it can help with the hot flashes as well. But I do have a free PDF. Click on the PDF below, and it gives you tips on how to get 7+ restful hours of sleep. And this one particular is also it can be for this, but it's also particularly made to minimize hot flashes at night. So not only will this help with getting better sleep, what better sleep leads to, hopefully less hot flashes. So that PDF that I have down on the link, click on that, and it will give you a lot of tips on how to get 7+ hours of restful sleep. Also, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you can get more tips and takeaway. And until next time, take care of your heart.